I've been giving you the worst of me, cause I can tell you a thirst to be. Look how the stars got you worshiping. You wanna slide, go to work, baby. Work, baby. On the sea. And it be just like it's in your dreams. Don't stop till it's head to feet. You wanna slide, go to work, baby. Work, baby. Damn it, boy, I'm tired of nights. When I'm talking, better look in my eyes. You ain't a saint, you ain't nothing like Christ. Stop pretending that you throw them on. Then below with all of this ice. It be dripping like you do when you cry. On your knees, but you're looking for rice. I'm a jawbreaker, I know your wife.
Hi guys, welcome tonight. I wanted to set up a demonstration of the maps and what I was talking about with the Limestone Branch. So I am going to pull this up. That way we can look at these maps and I can explain the Limestone Branch Creek, the footprints, all of that. So first I want to zoom in and I want to talk about the scent trail. So the scent trail comes back here over back behind the bus and stuff. So a lot of people were thinking this dog trail they were talking about came back behind the bus and came out on this side over here. But it actually goes down, crosses the driveway, loops around here, and it comes out down here a little bit further down. And that's what Cam was, from Cracking Cases, when he was there, he was trying to explain that the scent trail actually comes down and comes out on the other side of the driveway. So it is a little bit hard to understand when Don was talking about it. And I'm not sure if he was as sure of where the location was, but this was the location that was kind of confirmed. Was it came out back behind this van, the red van that's sitting right there in the driveway. There's lots of videos and pictures. Even on the search day it was there. It's a not running van, but the one that everyone sees her in videos inside a red conversion van, that's this van that's parked right here. That's broken down. But the scent trail goes back behind that. And over like right here is an old swing set down here. Let's see, like in this area back in here. It's an old swing set, an old van. So the scent trail comes down here, crosses the driveway, comes back out and comes down here. So a lot of people say, well, the scent ends at the end of the driveway, and Don Wells is one who says it too. The scent ends at the end of the driveway. So that means somebody must have picked her up at the end of the driveway right here. Well, because it ends here, doesn't mean she didn't walk back up and retrace her steps and go back up the driveway. That's another thing that could go on to many different theories. You can take that any way you want to go with it. She could have even came back up, stopped right here at the driveway when someone came up the driveway. Anything could be, because she went down here and it stopped at the end of the road, doesn't mean she didn't turn around and walk back up it. So that's my theory on that one. But that's not what I think happened. I think she ended up walking back up from the road and cutting through and getting into this creek right here, this Limestone Branch. Because right near this branch is where her scent ends. And then the reason why I think she got in this branch, it's a trail that goes straight through. If she follows it, takes her exactly to where her neck scent hits. And that's at Fred Hill's driveway. That's why I think she walked up this. It cuts around. Michelle was talking about right here, but this is Fred's mom's. Fred actually was living at 207, so she actually would have kept continuing up it a little bit further. And you'll see around this corner, it's right here. This is where her scent was again. At the 207 Ben Hill Road property, which is where Fred Hill and Laura White were living. The other two people that were on the property were Chad Arnold, who was seen by Candace, and Chad Arnold admits seeing Candace also that day. Fred Hill says Chad Arnold was there. Fred now has come out and admitted it being Roy Cotton Simpson, but Candace said she saw another unknown person up there. So that we're going to theorize that the other person was Cotton Simpson. So there is another waterway, like a little creek, that runs down off of this hill here, goes underneath his driveway, comes down and around, and drops in right here. I don't know if this is where he's talking about the bridge, where the scent starts, right here, or if he's talking about this little bridge thing, culvert on his driveway. But it's going to either be here or here. But what we do know, what Fred said is, it starts at like the bridge area and then goes up his driveway to where these old cars are up here. This was where it ended. Which, if Chad Arnold and Roy Simpson were here on Fred Hill's property at the time Fred and Laura had left and went to the vehicle disposal, she could have met up with them. Because the one thing we do know is Chad Arnold was on the hill with somebody else, and Fred's saying now it was Roy Simpson. And when Candace went up there still searching for Summer, Chad Arnold and Roy Simpson were still up there. But by the time law enforcement got there, Chad Arnold and Roy Simpson were gone. What we don't know is where they went. But if they had Summer, we can kind of follow the trail. At this point, she would have been put in a vehicle. But the next location, where the scent hits again, zoom out a little bit, is over here off of Simpson Road. This back side over here, there's like a little dirt road right here. And this is where footprints and her scent were found. The other location was up here. Law enforcement told Dawn it was an unfinished cabin, and there was footprints, and her scent was hit on up here. So what I find interesting about these two locations is this location right in between. This is the old Arnold's property, the old Simpson cemetery, and this was vacant on June 15th of 2021. It was for sale. It was listed on a bunch of sites, and then it was purchased by a David and Christy Brown. No immediate relation to Jody Sue Brown or Peggy Sue Travis or any of them. No relation there, like immediate. I just want to put that out there before rumors start going. But it was the Arnold's property prior to April of 2022. Now it's two salvaged mobile homes like stacked next to each other. And let me see if I can get it to rotate a little bit and see if we can look at it a little better. It's like two old mobile homes. Now, the owners of this property, the owner was Michael Arnold, and he did not live there. He didn't live there. He didn't live around there. He wasn't living in that area at all. He has a few different addresses in like other states, and then he was in Tennessee, but like hours away in Tennessee. So he wasn't here at this property. This property sat empty and was for sale. And it was kind of condemned and was salvaged out. But the fact that the Simpson cemetery, the old Simpson cemetery, still sits here. And when you pull it up on CAD maps and tax assessor maps, it belongs to Hawkins County. It does not belong to a person. It belongs to the county. And they are responsible for maintaining it. You can kind of see little gravestones still there in pictures. But what brought attention to this for me is the fact that Roy Simpson worked for the city department. He worked in the Parks Service. He had retired from them. This is his family's property. I wonder if he was the one maintaining it, because they're required to maintain it. I wonder if that was something he did, was maintain this property right here. But it is now sold to other people, which it's still kind of empty. It looks like the new people that bought it also do not live in it. So I showed on my last video how Francis Dykes had put out a protection order in 2020 against Chad Arnold, who was her husband. So as you see, it's not very far, right down the road. This is the property where Francis Dykes and Chad Arnold were living. And then she put a protection order out and kicked him out. And then he also violated the order. As you can see, I think it was in February of 2021, he had violated the order. So just 3 months prior to Summer going missing, he was in this area enough to violate the order. A lot of times women will put orders out. They get back together again. They fight again. She calls. She uses the protection order against the husband to get him kicked out again. You know, that's something that happens. But the second thing that I noticed was Cindy Simpson and Roy Simpson were also having problems. They actually ended up separating in November, but in August, his own sister and brother-in-law had filed a protection order against him. So that was the Brenda and Randy Wallen filed a protection order against Roy Simpson. And Cindy was separating from him. Casey, his son, it shows them still living in the house. So I'm not sure where Roy Simpson went. I kind of wonder if Roy and Chad were both kind of like hopping around couch surfing places because they were both having problems with their women and wives. But I thought it was kind of interesting, the fact that there is a family property empty up here. I wonder if they were staying in it. Because there was a place right here that could have been, they could have stayed in it, and maybe they were fixing it up, cleaning it up for to be sold. But I just wanted to talk about like the map a little bit more to explain, you know, some of the stuff I was talking about, so it makes sense from the maps I'm showing with just music playing and no commentary, and then commentary with no maps. So I was going to try to put something together here for you guys that had both. And in my map here, I did, like, I really try to get some details in it. Like, this is where the bus was. It's no longer in the picture. There were 2 trucks parked right here that were like trash. They weren't like people's trucks parked there. They were just like junk piled right here. There's 2 vehicles right here. One is that conversion van, and another is like an old truck. And then kind of back here behind this right here, there's an old swing set that's all broken. So you guys get an idea of context. So right here is where that refrigerator is. The camper. The back door. The swing. So I wanted to talk about that too. People saying that if she went out the back door, she could probably be seen. But there's 2 factors to that. One is if they were paying attention, even watching for her, or busy doing their own things around there. And 2 is if Candace was even there. I kind of feel like she left the hill. I don't know if you watched some of my prior videos, but I feel like when she told the boys, I'll be back, watch your sister, she left and went somewhere. And I think she was doing a favor for Jody. And that's why Jody was waiting at the end of the driveway. And that's why she said, I'm sorry. Because she felt bad because she's the reason Candace left Summer home with the other boys. I'm trying to piece it together. I'm trying to piece together personalities, maps, sense, timeline, like what could have happened. And like Candace's timeline could like be kind of accurate. You know, it wouldn't take that much just to like walk out, walk down, get in a creek, like within 20 minutes. And if Candace starts looking in 10 minutes, the first 10 minutes, she's probably not looking all the way down at Fred. She's looking like right around the house here. She sends the boys out. I mean, they kind of made it known that they went this way. They went down by the road, checking the shed, checking the creeks over here. This is where they went. On this side, back in here. But I think she went this way. And that's why they didn't see her. And by the time Candace really gets nervous and worried, she's already at Fred's. She's already there with those guys. Something's going on with them. They get kind of nervous, I think. And then they take her. I think they first take her over here, and they realize people are starting to look for her. And then they take her up here onto the hill where they know where this cabin area is. And they know it's there because that was the Sexton's property, who is also a family member of Roy Simpson. So, and this all on the other side of it down here is his family's property. So like this is, he like knows this. His whole family grew up in this area out here. Like this is his family's off. The road is Simpson Road. There's a reason it's called Simpson Road. This cemetery is a family cemetery. His great-grandparents and great-great-grandparents and stuff are probably buried in this cemetery right here. I think they thought about letting her out, but I think something went too far that they couldn't anymore. They did stop like right here at the end of the road. What I thought was kind of weird too was there was a report of a truck parked on the edge of the road here with nobody in it around that time too. Then they left. I don't know really where they went. I don't know if they would have went right home. Maybe they went to the Laurel Run Park area. It's only like 15-20 minute drive. But I don't think he would have went home. I think because he was having problems with his wife, I think they would have pulled in and they would have drove up here and went out to the cliffs up here. Or he could have even been camping at this park too, because he was having problems with the wife and his brother-in-law and sister around this time. So I actually think the house itself has nothing to do with it, because he would have never went back to that house because of the people that were around. His mom, his sister, his brother-in-law, his wife, and his son. And then his nephew living with his sister and brother-in-law. And they were already having problems with him. Problems enough that 2 months later, they file a protection order against him. So he knows, he goes to areas that he knows. And he knows this park. He knows this park, and he may even have a camp set up or anything up here in these hills. I think he would be on this side, because this is the back side of his property where he knows all these caves and these cliffs and hills. I mean, we have 2 incidents of him being right over here. One where there was a fire and he was trapped out here on this hill in a hole. Try to see here on the map if it can tell us Bay Mountain. So this is Bay Mountain right in here. Okay, so this would be Bay Mountain. So he was around Bay Mountain when there was a forest fire. And he was trapped on in a hole or something. They had to rescue him. I have the clips from that incident. And then the second incident where he dies. He falls off one of these cliffs out here and dies. And I think it was the backside up in here by the park. See, the waterfall is over here. And when you see all these people walking to the waterfall and taking those trails, they're taking those trails from this side over here. And they're walking over here. These are where they come in. They walk the trails and on this side of the park. They walk a little bit up in here where they could get to on some of these hills. But there's a big ravine here. They can't really get to this side over here just walking in the park. They would be over here on this side where the trails and stuff are. You can even see roads going up into here where you can get up in here to get to where this waterfall is. Excuse me. I think it would be on the back side of where his house is and his property. Back up in here where people don't walk. So I think if they really are search and look for her, I think it should be up in here along this side of the falls, because even Fred says it's in an area, that people don't know about. It's a secret, another side. And I think it's this side of the falls, not the park side. I think it's this back side. All right, so enough of that. I've repeated that over and over again. Let's get to where Chad Arnold could have been living in reference to Cotton Simpson's house. When you pull it out on the map, it's actually pretty close. It's closer than Candace and Don's house to his house. It's just right here at the 170 California Avenue. And we were talking about this the other night because this is the location where Jason Arnold's body was found. This is where they were living. This California Avenue. And it's actually like all these houses right here all belong like to this Arnold family, which is weird because it's like a different Arnold. Let me flip this around a little bit. So if you look, this is the field that they mention in like the police articles. And this little strip right here that curves around where like there's like this ball right here is Cherry Lane. Like this is not Cherry Lane here. This is not Cherry Lane going the other way. Cherry Lane is only this little area right here. So that means his body had to have been found like right here somewhere in these woods right here. And his house, in comparison, was right here. So I wanted to show you guys that so maybe it would make a little more sense when we talk about it. But this is Chad Arnold's family. All of this right here. And like I said, it is not that far from the disposal place for the cars and Cotton Simpson's house. So I don't know where Chad Arnold was staying. You know, when Ziggy did that interview with his mom, Peggy Sue Hundley, she said she doesn't know when he comes back. He just comes and goes. He can be gone however long. So I think he didn't stay there that much. And he could have even been staying at Fred's at that time. Because if you look at Fred's charges, he has him maintaining a drug house, maintaining a dwelling where drugs are used. So that doesn't mean that it's just him and Laura using drugs personally. It means he lets people stay all up here and use drugs. So that's what kind of makes me think like with Chad Arnold and Roy Simpson were probably just like staying up in here because it's where they were getting high and they were just helping him mess with cars, all that. And because Summer went missing, Cotton actually ended up leaving from around this area. And like it shows in August, he ends up getting a protection order from his sister and brother-in-law because he's back over there off of Mountain View again. This is my thoughts on it. I think she went down the driveway, went down the little trail, walked back up a little bit, got in the creek, walked down to Fred's. Fred and Laura were gone. Cotton and Chad Arnold were there. Cotton and Chad Arnold started messing around with her, snatched her up, drove her out down Simpson Road. I think they went over here to around this property. Didn't know what to do because now people are looking for her. Went up here to where this unfinished cabin is. Did whatever they were doing. Went down here. Maybe even thought they would let her go at first, but then got scared. One of them made a decision. One of them probably wanted to let her go, and probably one of them didn't. And that's why you have footprints again, right here. And then Fred's saying she's at Laurel Run or Laurel Run Park over here. That is my little presentation of the things that I wanted to talk about and my theories on this. Because this property, I didn't have a name before. Like, I saw all these properties. I knew like the different things that were around here. But by not having the name Cotton Simpson and following him back through the Arnolds and through his ancestry, it, you know, it was hard to connect all of this. But given, for me, I don't know if anybody else feels the same way, but for me, that name just gave me a direction to go in with the evidence that I already had, and I wouldn't say evidence, the theories and the stuff that I already had, like that I was going through, you know, with the different areas and the maps and all that. So, you know, bringing that creek in there, walking up that creek, really makes a lot of sense to me. That's the only thing that brings the two sense together. All right, well, I'm going to drop this screen. And I want to thank you guys. And I hope like the commentary made it a little bit more easier to understand. Because I know like with my videos with music behind them and everything, sometimes if you haven't watched my live, they probably can be really hard to understand. They're mostly just like educational material to use to follow my lives. So if I talk about something, you can go back and watch that, and you can pause it and read things and go and look at maps and stuff, you know, so you can get an idea of at least what I'm talking about. But thank you guys, and good night.